To turn on all the things you can use in A0108 are 3 remotes. The first one is the sound bar. So it turns on your sound, lets you listen to stuff, and that will connect to any laptop as long as the sound is set to do so on the display switcher. The display switcher is what allows you to switch between different laptops and different screens. So I'll turn it on really quick. It might take a couple of seconds to fully boot up and get everything turned on. You will hear a whirring noise a little bit as it starts up, and that'll be your indicator that it's starting. Once that's starting, you can go and take your large remote and turn on the Overboard, which is your large touchscreen. The USB for the touch functions of the large Overboard is usually going to be tucked behind it, and all that needs to happen with that is it needs to be plugged into the machine. Once that happens, whatever laptop that's plugged into will be allowed to use the whole Overboard as a touchscreen. There are 2 ways to get this connected. One is the large source button. Select HDMI 1. And there it is. Other way to go, on the sides are your extra little menu bars on either side. And they have source, go back, home, settings, and then the ability to mark on things directly. So this will be your marker mode, and that is complete. That's just part of the board. It's completely separate. You can have other apps that will interact with the touchscreen, but just as part of the TV, there is its own markup system. That's also the other way to reach the source. You can select HDMI 1 from there, or go back home and select it from the source button here. Alright, so the Overboard is a touch screen. I'm going to go over some of the stuff using this to navigate, just because, again, here's a lesson. So this is not connected right now, touchscreen wise. It's connected, you can see everything, but this is pod 2, which is connected to another laptop. This laptop here is pod 1. So in order to be able to use it, I'll have to go pod 1. I'll do display 1 because that's the display behind me. And now it changes. And around the room, the other 4 ones are still on pod 2. This is now pod 1. Well, because this is connected, I can use it as a touchscreen. So, that lesson to learn. If you want to use a touchscreen, laptop 1 is going to be the way to go because all the other ones are locked down. Alright, so I'm going to show you the 2 ways to connect to the Solstice pod system. So on the right is my personal machine, and on the left is a school machine. So for the school machine, you can either click any of these shortcuts that'll take you to any of the independent pods, or as you'll see at the top right of your screen is the IP, and next to that is a 4-digit code. So you can enter that IP, which is 10.131.144.10 in this case, and then I will enter code 2051. Press OK, and it will connect. From there, I would be able to share my desktop, my app window, or a media file. Well, I'm going to just disconnect for right now. Yes, I'll leave. And there are the rest of the options left over. Well, on the right, I can enter that same IP address, 10.131.144.10, and that code has changed now. Since someone connected to it and disconnected, the key has changed. So in this case, for a new machine, I'll have to download the app, which luckily I can do on video. It's quick enough. Though I cut it out, that in total took me about a minute flat. So my name is Everett, so I will put my name in there. And now I'm ready to connect. The key in this case is 8048, as you'll see at the top right of your screen. And now I can connect with my personal machine. So that's another option for people visiting from outside of the college, or collaborators, or people who may not have a login or may not have an active login. Alright, so now I have two computers logged into. Both of them are logged into separate pods. The computer on the left, the screen that's just there on the laptop, is logged into pod 2. The screen on the right is logged into pod 1, but that's display 5. How I got that was on here, the top half selects the pod. So the pod is going to be whatever pod you sign into. Any laptop can sign into any number pod. Next up is the display. The large display is number 1, and then it goes from left and clockwise around the room. So the one to my right is display 5, and the one to my left is display 4. And then if the camera were to sweep around the room, you would have display 3 and 2, and behind the camera would be 1, the large screen. Easiest way to do everything with this is just first step, second step, and then press enter. Unless you want to do all machines, so what you can do is, if I want to do pod 1, display all, and press enter. Now that machine to the left, or that screen to the left, is displaying the same one, and all the screens around me are also displaying the same. Just again, I could do that now with that laptop that's to the left. Press pod 2, display all, and press enter. Oop. You have to typically aim it at the receiver. How do you get the sound to the rest of the room? Well, number 8 on display. That's how that goes. So for any machine you could put the sound through. All you'd have to do is, let's say this is pod 1. So I'd click pod 1, display 1, and then display 8, and press enter. And now sound has been enabled for this as well, which 8 being the sound option. Now I can go here and we'll turn it up a little bit. It's really relaxing. That's how you get sound. So with that, if you put any screen, turn this down. If you put any screen to all of the screens, it'll get sound. If not all the screens are set the same, then you'll have to choose whatever pod is playing sound and pair that with the number 8, and you'll have sound. Another quick thing I wanted to mention is the pens that we have. They're soft, felty tip touch pens that make it a little bit easier to work with, and they are magnetic and will attach to the board. Within the Solstice app, you'll have 3 options. Sharing your desktop, which is what allows you to share audio. A caveat with that is that whatever laptop is sharing that sound will also be playing that sound through the speakers. I've got the sound bar set up so that way it negates as much effects as possible, where you won't get an echo as badly. But just something to be aware of, that it will be playing both sounds at once. Next to that, app window would be just sharing one window. It takes priority, so I can share the desktop, and let's open up a Google Chrome window. Alright. And we'll share the app window, just that one. Well, what I can do now is on the left it's sharing the entire desktop, and on the right is sharing just that window. So I could even go now and say, I'm going to stop sharing my desktop, and I want to share just that window. Now just that window is being shared. Actually, let's back up so you can see this picture a little better. So I can share just that app window. Ooh, let's see, I'll open up the recycle bin. And, oh, there's a bunch of stuff in there. Oh well. We'll also show that. And now it's showing just those two windows, but it's not showing the rest of the desktop. If I close out one of those windows, it'll disappear. Close out the other one, it'll disappear. And go back to that normal pod screen. If I click Share Desktop again, my desktop is back. Same can be done with the media file option, and that could just pull up something that, like, let's say there's a video saved. One thing to be aware of is that the settings on all of these will stay when you leave the room. So to be courteous to others, you could always go through at the end and put pod 1 to display 1, pod 2 to display 2, pod 3 to display 3, pod 4 to display 4, and pod 5 to display 5. And you could do that either at the start of or at the end of the day. I would recommend doing it at the start of, just so that way you know you're set and you're good to go and you know where things are at. And if you have the time and are able to, at the end of the day as well, to help set it up for the next person to use it.